The Iron Man movies are what started the MCU. So today, I'm gonna rank all the characters in the 3 Iron Man movies from the most good all the way down to most evil. You know how these videos work. So, I want to clear a couple things up before we get started. I'm only going to be ranking characters who appear in at least one of the 3 Iron Man movies. However, a lot of these characters also do stuff in other movies in the MCU, and I will be counting these they do in those other movies if they're important. I will be counting those to this list. However, I won't be counting characters that don't appear in the Iron Man movies. Okay? Anyway, let's get started with the Gold Medal of Good. So this was kind of hard, to be honest. But the Gold Medal of Good is probably going to be Yinsen, probably. So, we see him as the other guy that the Ten Rings have kind of captured in the first Iron Man movie. And basically, he seems like a pretty nice guy. Helping Tony, basically saving Tony's life, helping him build Iron Man, and even sacrificing his life for him. And he tries to warn Tony not to succeed. He seems like a pretty good guy, kind of like that perfect mentor type character, helping Iron Man become Iron Man, actually, both mentally and physically become Iron Man. But yeah. He seems like a nice guy. Oh, he definitely although this implied he made a lot of mistakes early on in his life. He does seem like a very good guy. He does appear in a cameo in Iron Man 3. However, you don't really learn that much about his character from that, only that his first name is Ho. But yeah, he is, of all the characters, we don't really see too many flaws with him. He seems like a very nice guy who even helps Iron Man become Iron Man. So, I guess if anyone deserves a gold medal, it's him. Okay, so second place is also pretty hard, because there's a lot of characters in this movie that could honestly, you could say, have the gold medal. So I'm probably going to give it to Rhodey. So he's played by 2 actors. In the first Iron Man, he's played by 1 guy, but the second, he's played by Jon Snow, and I got pictures of Jon Snow because he's well known as that. But yeah, he's basically Iron Man's best friend, and he's an important guy in the military. Now, he's always trying to help him. Kind of like Pepper, he also acts like a voice of reason for Tony and a lot of times, just like Pepper. And he's a very nice guy, being a very high-ranking member of the military, being very nice to him and Tony Stark. And when he does see Tony Stark going to line, he does steal one of his suits. That isn't really a bad thing because he was doing it just because he kind of needed to. He didn't really have a choice in the matter. So yeah, he is a very nice guy, a voice of reason. He's in the military. You know, he's overall a voice of reason character, you know, basically, he's also very heroic, being an important member of the military, also becoming Iron Man himself in a way, becoming War Machine, and even helping Iron Man in the Avengers, actually, in many battles. Now, he does become a Skrull for a couple movies, so yeah, I guess he's not really in Infinity War or Endgame. However, he is in the movies that we do see him in, that he isn't a Skrull. He's a nice guy, so this is a good spot for him. Okay, next up, the Silver Medal of Evil is no. Good. The silver medal, no, the bronze medal of good is probably gonna be. Oh, this is hard, though. Happy, you know, he doesn't really have any really too bad qualities. The only thing that really puts him below the top 2 is that he's not as insanely good. He doesn't sacrifice his life, and he isn't like an active, like insanely active hero. Well, he is overall a pretty nice guy. He helps Tony Stark a lot, helping him helping him in battles, all kind of. And overall being a very supportive friend to Tony, being his bodyguard, and he's also a very charming and nice guy, and even being kind of a father figure to Spider-Man, helping him. Helps him with his suit. And he's overall a very supportive father figure to him, secondary to like Tony when it comes to Peter Parker, Spider-Man, in those movies. Honestly, though, there isn't really anything really bad you can say about him. Although he does, I mean, sure, he has a couple flaws here and there, but there's not too much bad I can say about him. So I think this is a good spot. Okay, number 4. Barely avoiding the top 3. As hard as this is, I'd say probably, okay, this is hard, but I'm gonna go with Tony, I guess. The man himself. He is, in fact, Iron Man. Now, when you first see him, he's kind of like, although he does definitely mean well for the most part, he's kind of a self-absorbed kind of guy. And he kind of keeps some of those qualities even when he becomes Iron Man. However, he's still for the most part a really nice guy. A heroic guy even. Not just nice, absolutely heroic. When he becomes Iron Man and he sees what horrors are happening to this one place by the Ten Rings, that his weapons cost, he's the one who saves them, and he becomes an important hero throughout there, stopping many threats, being a very important guy, stopping a lot of threats in the Avengers movies and the Iron Man movies. Although in the Iron Man movies, he actually created a lot of those threats, and then he also created Ultron, so he does stop a lot of threats that he himself creates. However, he also stops a lot of threats that he doesn't create, so he is definitely a hero in many ways, and he even sacrifices his life at the end of Endgame to save the universe, so he's easily an amazing guy. He does have some bad qualities, though, which is what's keeping him from top 3, but I think he is an Infinity War, guys. This is a good spot for him. Okay, next up, I think we finally got to get her out of the room. I don't know. This is hard between, like, 2 people, really, but I don't know. The 5th place, I'd say, is probably going to be Black Widow. Of course, she sacrifices her life as well. I don't know. May?
Oh, you're doing Iron Man.
I'm doing Iron Man, not Spider-Man. I'm in the car with my mom. Yeah, in case you're wondering. But yeah. So, I'm gonna go with Black Widow. Now she also actually sacrificed her life in Endgame too, because yeah, there's 2 characters who sacrificed their life in Endgame. She does it for the Soul Stone, and okay, so she does honestly start off her character arc, although kind of off screen. It's kind of like a more questionable person. Oh, she becomes a hero when she becomes a shield worker, and although she's portrayed in a slightly negative light in Iron Man 2, which is the first movie she's in, and this is an Iron Man ranking at heart. However, she is overall an insane hero, basically just doing all the stuff Iron Man does, but maybe a bit less self-absorbed. I don't know. I mean, honestly, you could say she's higher up than Iron Man, I guess. However, she did do some bad stuff in the past, I think, and I don't know. I think she does have a few negative qualities. However, I do think overall she's a good person, so well here. Next up on the list, though. Okay, I gotta get her out of here. Finally, Pepper. 6th. I don't know. Maybe I put her too low, although I'd say Tony Stark and her probably better. Honestly, though, I probably should switch her and Happy, to be honest. Honestly, fine. I'm gonna switch her and Happy, because Happy, although he doesn't have any bad qualities, he's also not as heroic as Tony. What's her name? Scarlett Johansson, I'll call Scarlett, I guess, because I forgot what her name is. Oh yeah, Natasha. How did I forget the Black Widow's name? How did I forget that? Honestly, though, now I'm really trying to think about it, and I'd say he's probably not as good, because he's not as heroic. And honestly, she's honestly a bit better than Tony, even. However, yeah, he's still a pretty good guy. So is Tony. Now it's Pepper. Yeah, still 6th. No, yeah, still 6th. But yeah, Pepper is the 6th most good character. You could some people might put her higher. However, she doesn't do as many heroic things. She's not like an insane hero. She doesn't sacrifice her life or anything. So, I don't know if I can truly put her as high. But she is still a very supportive person to Tony, being his assistant for the first 2, and even his girlfriend in Iron Man 3, and even eventually becoming his wife in Endgame. So yeah, she's for the most part supportive, and she's also a voice of reason to, just like Rhodey, she's also a huge voice of reason to Tony. And now she does kind of, I feel like, get a bit angry at Tony for some of the actions he does in Iron Man 2, even for the most part kind of abandoning him. However, I mean, so she's a pretty good person, I guess. Even in Iron Man, and even in Endgame, she's fully supportive of Tony Stark going out there. However, she does have some kind of negative qualities. If you watch, you might be able to tell what I'm trying to tell you. If you watch the movie, she does have a couple of negative qualities. However, she's not a very bad person. She's a pretty good person, so I'd say this is a good spot. Okay, next up on the list, I think we have to finally put Nick Fury. Maybe I put him. I mean, he's a SHIELD agent. He's like the definition of a hero. Oh, he does have some You know, I'll put him above Pepper. The reason really Pepper's so low, a big reason is because she doesn't do that many heroic things throughout the show. Oh, she is a pretty important side character. A pretty nice person. I don't know. I just think that she's not as good as the main heroes. But yeah, Nick Fury is, I'd say, 6th actually. So his main backbone is that he just kind of have a temper and can't kind of get mad at things. It does kind of a temper, especially in Iron Man's suit. He's really not that bad. He's a huge hero. Also, just like the Rose and Pepper, he's the voice of reason and Tony, and he's literally a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. He is the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's overall a very good person. I mean, sure, he does do some questionable things in Captain America, the Winter Soldier. He does do a few questionable things throughout the MCU, which put him a bit lower, like sending Skrulls to handle the Peter situation, which he doesn't seem valuable enough for himself. However, he is for the most part a guy. He does some questionable things which are keeping him away from hero, honestly. He does do some questionable things. However, he is a hero at heart, so I think this is a good spot. Then we got Pepper. Then, there's only a few characters that remain, and let's talk about Jarvis. Jarvis himself. Jar Jar. Jar Jar Binks, if you will. Jarvis. So Jarvis is Iron Man's assistant, basically, just like Pepper. He's also his Iron Man's assistant, kind of, throughout the Iron Man movies until he becomes Vision and Friday replaces him. So Jarvis, he's the assistant. He helps Iron Man with basically all of his fights. And although a lot of his stuff is programmed, he is programmed for a lot of his things. He does truly have. It is heavily implied he does, and really even told, basically shown to us, he does have a personality, and he's a pretty heroic guy. Even when he becomes Vision, he's a true hero, helping out in so many fights, and even willing to sacrifice his life to save the universe. Yeah, honestly though, there isn't anything like bad you can say about Jarvis. The only thing that keeps him kind of low is a lot of his personality is probably programmed. However, you can't talk him too much for that. So I think this is a good spot for him. Next up is the guy who died, I'd say at the right time, honestly, Phil Coulson. He was a big prominent figure throughout the entirety of Phase 1. He dies at the end of the Avengers. Well, which is in a way kind of sacrificing his life in a way. Now he's also an important guy in S.H.I.E.L.D. Not as important as Nick Fury, but still an important guy. We don't really see him that much. Now, really though, there's not too much bad you can say about him. I mean, I don't think S.H.I.E.L.D. really needed to take Jane's stuff in Thor, and I'm guessing he was the main guy who wanted to take Jane's stuff in Thor, which wasn't the best thing S.H.I.E.L.D. ever did. However, he is a very good guy. For the most part, he means well, and wants to be a hero. The only thing really blocking him is that we don't see him too much throughout the show, and he does do some questionable things like taking Jane's things in Thor. However, he's not a bad guy by any means. Okay, next up is Tony Stark's late great father, Howard Stark. Maybe I'm putting him too. Okay, fine. I'll put him above Jarvis and Coulson. Fine, I'll put him above Jarvis and Coulson. So yeah, this is my list. This is the list. First is Instant, second is Rhodey, then Black Widow, then Tony, then Happy, then Fury, then Pepper, then Howard. So 8th. 8th is Howard Stark. I say Jarvis and Coulson a bit lower down than him. Now he is Tony Stark's favorite dad. Although he isn't seen alive in Iron Man movies, he is seen live in Captain America and Endgame. Now, he for the most part is a really good guy, you know. He's the guy who helped found S.H.I.E.L.D. actually, and he also tries to advance the world and do a lot of good things. And he even does love Tony. However, Tony Stark is kind of what drags him, because he doesn't really show he loves Tony Stark very often. He never told him he loved him, or even he liked him, and he is kind of mean to Tony Stark throughout his life. So that does knock him a lot. Well, he did love him truly. He did truly love him. However, the fact that he was kind of mean to him throughout the MC, throughout his earlier life, is what's stopping him. However, he is a pretty good guy. Finally, at the very end of the good tier is not an insanely important character, but still a character I want to mention. Christine. She's a reporter. She asks Tony a couple things, and she sleeps him at the beginning of Iron Man 1, which was a scene that I'm wondering how it was in a PG-13 movie, though it wasn't that insane. Yeah, it was based. I think it was kind of the most interesting. You know, she sees Tony Stark kind of aggressively. That made me kind of wonder how it was in a PG-13 movie, really aggressively. However, that's not really a bad thing or a good thing. It's just really a neutral thing, honestly. Now, she's a reporter. She does really care about the people. Even being upset when Tony Stark bombs, Tony Stark indirectly kind of causes the entire town's terror. However, she isn't truly a bad person. She's just a reporter who wants to do stories, and she does care about the people in the town that he indirectly kind of terrorized by the Ten Rings that he does end up saving. However, that's the only thing she really does important. That's the only important thing she does in this entire 3 movies. However, she is shown to be a good person, so I'll put her in the good tier. Okay, that was long, but now we're at the graveyard. Thank God there's only 2 people I can think of that are actually not really good or evil. First off, I have no idea what this woman's name is. She's the woman who was with Tony Stark in 1999 along with Happy. She was that person. So basically, she was a scientist working, I think, she was with Tony Stark. They even dated briefly. And she was with him in 1999, and she ends up joining forces with Aldrich Killian. Now, that's what keeps her from the good tier. Although she does seem like a pretty good person trying to help science out and be a good scientist. However, she does help Killian, even try and kill Tony Stark, and it is supporting of Killian, the fire people thing. However, she isn't truly bad. She does eventually realize what she's doing wrong and tries to put an end to Aldrich Killian, dying doing it, actually. Now, the fact that she joined forces with him and helped him a lot of his evil things is what keeps her from the good. However, the fact that she eventually stood up and even died stopping him is what keeps her from the bad. Now, next up is Trevor Slattery, probably the funniest character in the Iron Man movies. So, when you first watch, you honestly think he's the villain. Because you think he's the Mandarin, the leader of the Ten Rings organization. However, once you get to the mansion place, once you get to where they're working, you find out that he's really just an actor who's just pretending. Now, what keeps him from the good tier or anywhere higher is that he doesn't really do anything good. I mean, he does care about that pig thing because you do see him again in Shang-Chi, and he does care about that pig thing. And he's in a much lighter role in that movie. So he's not truly a bad guy. He is a drug addict and not exactly a great guy. Just doing anything good in movies, but not anything too bad. Probably he was aware of a criminal activity and kind of helped Killian with evil activity. But he truly was a bad guy, and he even is in much more positive light. Well, not much more, but a bit more positive light in Shang-Chi. Even caring about that pig thing and seeing him as one of his best friends. So he isn't truly evil, however, he is really good. And he's also kind of a drug addict and has a lot of issues. However, he is truly a kind of pure neutral guy, so I think this is a good spot for him. Okay, now we're at the true bad guys of the Iron Man movies. This is the bad and evil. So of all the bad guys in Iron Man, the least bad is probably going to be this guy. He's the secretary of something. He has an important role in the government. I think he's a counselor or something. He's a government counselor or chairman or something in the government. And basically, he's the guy who interviews Tony at the beginning of Iron Man 2, telling him how the government wants to take his suits. And he was a big person behind that. And but when we first see him, until Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which isn't even an Iron Man movie, he seems like just a regular politician who actually seems like he actually does care about the people. Actually, at least more than real old politicians. However, in Captain America: Winter Soldier, we find out that he was actually working for Hydra. So that means so even though we don't know exactly what he was doing for Hydra, honestly, although, I mean, we don't really know exactly what he was doing for Hydra. He was working with a really evil organization. So the fact that he was actively doing that and doing bad stuff for Hydra does mean that he is truly a bad guy. So, I think this is a good spot. Next up, right under him in this list is gonna be Ivan Vanko. So Ivan Vanko is that villain who comes for revenge. He did what he did for revenge. Now, unlike another villain who does what he does for revenge, his reason is a bit more good than his. So basically, Tony Stark kinda screwed his father, even though his father was the one who was really screwing. Howard Stark screwed his father, even though Howard Stark was, his father was basically the one who screwed Howard actually. But how he screwed Howard, he screwed his dad basically. So now he wants to kill his son. So yeah. Now, he has no problems hurting other people along with him. And he has no problems hurting a lot of people to get what he wants. And really, he's basically just a pure rage evil guy, really. Now, he's not, that's all he really is, though. And he is kind of a minion for the true bad guy. So he's not as evil as him. Which brings me to Justin Hammer. So basically, what Hammer wants to do is basically best Tony because he was jealous about how Tony's better than him. And really, besides that, his Jones thing, he did also kind of want to take over the military in a way. So yeah, not a great guy. He also doesn't mind hurting a lot of people, and he also kind of tried to kill Tony. So yeah, basically he does what Vanko does, but instead of just revenge, he does it just for money, fame, and power, basically all that stuff. So he's kind of the head, so he's definitely a bit more evil. Okay, next up. I think next in line, in the top three, we're at the top three now. The third most evil character in anime movies is an entire group, the Ten Rings. So, we see them, the Ten Rings are terrorist people who basically want to use, now they were hired by Obadiah Stane to kill Iron Man. However, they decide that since they realized that, because they didn't really realize he was Tony Stark, they didn't realize that, so they decided instead of killing him to have him make a Jericho missile so they could kill people, basically, because that's what they wanted to do with the Jericho missile, to kill people. So unlike these people, they wanted to kill a whole lot of people. They wanted to do a lot of bad things. The terrorists to the core. Now, I don't think they're as bad as these two. We see them, we don't really get a whole lot of what these guys do. We don't really know a lot. They are terrorists, though. They terrorize a lot of people. I don't know if they're as bad. Actually, though, I would say they're not as bad as one of these characters, honestly. However, they are worse than one of them. So, actually, I think I actually get the silver medal. So now, the true bronze medal is going to be Obadiah Stane. Now, I know it's going to be a bit surprising, but I'm really thinking about it. I'm realizing that these guys, they do a lot worse than Obadiah does. Now, it doesn't mean Obadiah is a good guy, because he's very evil. He hires these people to kill Tony. However, all he really wants is to take over the business. Now, he is helping terrorists. He is willingly helping terrorists, so he is helping them do a lot of bad stuff. But he isn't really physically doing a whole ton of terrorism. The only bad thing that he truly physically does, is like kill Tony to take over Stark Industries, which is still a bad thing. And he's helping terrorists, which makes him worse than this guy. However, he's not actively doing too many he's not really killing too many people. So I'd say they're a bit worse than him. And I'd say the most evil person, there's only one more. He's kind of the MCU's version of Syndrome, though a bit worse. Only a little bit worse, honestly. Aldrich Killian. Now, basically, Aldrich Killian, he started a company called AIM, which was kind of dangerous. And Tony Stark but Tony Stark promised him an elevator, and he ditches him. And that's what that made him evil, basically. Now, all these people, just like everyone before him, with the exception of this guy, tries to kill Tony Stark, because basically every Iron Man villain ever tries to kill Tony Stark, except for maybe this guy. If you even count him an Iron Man villain, really. But yeah. He basically, however, besides killing Tony Stark, he also tries to create fire people. Now, he knows that this kills people, He knows. However, he does it anyway. He does it anyway for the sake of doing it. And he actually also does basically what these guys are doing. He also kills a lot of people through the fire people thing. Now, I don't know. I think he's actually a bit worse in the Ten Rings, maybe. Maybe I think he's probably a little bit worse. I'd say. Maybe. Honestly, though, I think the Ten Rings might actually be a bit worse because they do a lot. Honestly, yeah. I'd say the probably round equal to this guy is probably probably killing a bit more people, so I'll put him above them. Anyway, that's all for this video. If you liked my videos, if you like this video, check out this video, and maybe subscribe to my channel. It would help out a lot. It's completely free. I really want to hit 50 subscribers by the end of the month. Anyway, peace.